Today, I am joined by Bella Bliss, a very special guest who I'm really excited to bring to you. She has such a powerful story, such a amazing journey, incredible journey, inspiring journey, and she is now turned that into helping others move through playing big, really showing up, coming from a place of playing small, possibly hiding in their life to really shining their light in the world. And she shines her light in such a bright and powerful way. So, Bella, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really excited to dive deep with you and have this incredible conversation.
I am super excited to be here, Heidi. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Absolutely. So before we dive in, though, Bella, I really want to introduce you to the audience so they get to know a little bit about background about you, and then we're gonna just jump right in. Sound good?
Yep, sounds
Perfect.
perfect.
Okay. Bella Bliss is an intuitive, transformational, and empowerment life coach, international best-selling author, visionary leader, inspirational speaker, and inner bliss alchemist. She specializes in elevating solopreneurs, empowering motivated women to radiate energy inwards, and inviting them to play in the quantum playground of limitless possibility so that her clients can unleash their soul fire and fiercely live their passionate truth as the inner bliss goddess they already are. And Bella, you are the queen of goddess. And I love your mantra. Her mantra, everyone, is be seen, be heard, and be limitless. And so, of course, she had to be on the Be podcast, be seen, be heard, be empowered. So, Bella, can you tell us how you came up with this mantra?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, you had a great part in all of this. I first, well, let me step back. I was married to a narcissist for 20 years before I even knew what a narcissist was. And once I realized what a narcissist was, I didn't know what to do with it or how to get out. And I was suffering through the whole time because I was suffering in silence. And for all this time, I thought that it was him that was silencing me until you and I had a coaching call and I started bursting out crying because there was an obstacle that I had that you called me out on. And it was because every single dollar that I made, it seemed like it went to him. And so I was crying. And this was even after I had left the relationship, which was 1 year later. I was still like in tears because I got my tax return back and it went to old taxes. And so the next tax return was going to come. And that's when you and I were talking. And you're like, what's going on, Bella? Like, why are you not doing your job interviews? Like, why aren't you seeking for that job? Everything else in your life is moving along, but you're not doing anything to progress to get that job, which is working for the state. So I said, I just bursted out in tears. One of those ugly cries that you all know of.
Yes.
I mean, I just bursted out and I'm like, it's the taxes. It's the taxes. And so Heidi's like, do you know how much it is? And I'm like, no, I don't. But everything, even after we're done, it's still going to him. So she says, well, she just so real and raw. She just broke it down. She said, well, it can't be more than I owe. she, she told me the number and I was like, no, it's not. So I eventually found out how much it was, and it was under 2000, I remember. And I was like, "Oh my God, this is like ridiculous. Why am I crying over all of this?" So I had a little talk with myself, and I got really good at having little talks with myself because I was so hard on myself, beating myself up for everything. Why did you even get involved in this? And, he's going to come after you and all of this. And so I said, you know what? No, this is being really silly. I said, I am silencing myself. I thought he was silencing me. No, I am silencing myself because he's not even around. And here I am still silencing myself. That's how I realized the power of the subconscious and how it just, basically runs the show. And also fear and how fear runs the show. So that's how be seen, be heard, be limitless came around because I said, if I want to be seen, I need to see myself. If I want to be heard, I need to hear myself. And if I want to be limitless, because I knew that I was the only possibility for limiting just myself, then I need to play big. I needed to be limitless. I needed to work with my choices because at the time in that marriage, I had a friend who was just poking and prodding me, telling me that it's not normal, all the stuff that I'm doing, saying, thinking, and all of that. And the thing is that I'm a psychology minor. I have a psychology minor. And I never knew about what codependency was. I never knew, I did know what enabling was. But when you're caught up in that enabling and codependency, which a lot of women are and have been or recovering from, it's really challenging to get out. It's really like an addiction because you don't know that you're even addicted and you just want to get through the pain as fast as possible. And that was me throughout this whole time. I didn't know that I had a choice to leave. I saw the movie Sleeping with the Enemy. And with this, for all of you who don't know the movie, it was I'm not going to do a spoiler, but is with Julia Roberts, and she ended up leaving a toxic relationship, and he eventually found her, and that terrified me to think that he's eventually going to find me because he was really psycho like that and very meticulous like that too. So it just really resonated with me, and I just let fear take over. So through this process of leaving and with that mantra that I live with even today, every day, it pushes me out of my comfort zone. So I've learned how to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's the only place that we're going to grow. That's the only place that we're going to um, truly find who we are. And in this process, you helped me through a lot of finding who I really am. I learned so much through you and keeping things simple. And to this day, like, all of the overthinking, all of the you can't do that, all of the this and that, all the negative thoughts. I just, I talk to myself and I just say, you can't do that, Bella. Why not? Why can't I do it? And then, I could learn it. And if I can't, if I don't want to learn it, if it's not something I don't want to do, then I could hire somebody to help me. I'm like, it's okay. So I learned that as well. It's okay. And every time that I'm overthinking something or I'm frazzling out, just keep it simple. Keep it simple. Because that's what you're like, almost like your mantra is like, it doesn't need to be complicated. You always said, I like things simple. I like things simple. So that's something that, I keep in my life as well, is just keep it simple. Just keep it simple. So
Absolutely. I love that. And keep it simple. And I also like to keep it fun. Keep it simple and fun.
yes.
And then you're less likely to procrastinate. And yes,
Yes,
we tend to overcomplicate things which leads to overwhelm, procrastination, paralyzation, so many things. And I just want to
exactly.
say, Bella, I'm so proud of you. I've known you for years now, and where
Mm,
you were when we met, and where you are now, and how you're shining your bright light because you weren't able to do that back then. And just your story and journey, in what an inspiration you are to so many women that are that are moving through that process, or maybe still stuck in something similar, and what
Right.
they can now see that you're doing in the world, that's possibility for them too.
Yay.
The possibilities are endless and
Yeah.
limitless. And yeah, it's really important to know, and you mentioned this, really knowing your situation. And that's one thing, like Bella you had a goal of making more income and getting a promotion or a better job that
Yeah.
created more income for you. And you were doing so much growth. You were growing so much in your life from where you were the year before and the years before, and leaving your situation and really being brave in doing that. And you were still processing through the fear of him finding you or
Yes.
different things, but you were making huge leaps and bounds in progress. And you were starting to like learn how to speak on stages and things like that. There were so many things that you were being brave around, but you were stuck in that one spot. And I remember saying to you, like, why aren't you going on interviews? Like, we have this goal if you had this goal that you created and you had a timeline on it of getting that position, but nothing was progressing. And it was just that one piece of those taxes that you didn't even know what you owed. And knowledge is power. And you were able
Yeah.
to, with that little piece of knowledge and information, take your power back and go, that's all I owed. You thought it was
Totally.
so much bigger. And we tend to do that, don't we, Bella? We tend to
Yeah.
think things are so much bigger, especially when we put it off and put it off, when actually when we tackle it and we go head first in, it's such a smaller thing than we thought originally. And we can simplify it and break it down. Okay, well, great. This is what I owe. If I can now reverse engineer that back into the next
Yeah.
12 months or 24 months, how can I get that paid off? So it's not sucking me, it's not taking all the money from me. And you did
And
great. You did get that job I think 2 days
yeah.
before your
Can
timeline.
I
That was
tell more about
incredible.
that?
Yeah. It was
Okay,
super
so
powerful. You took your power back, and it was really it was impressive for me how you really stepped into that pretty quickly too, and you haven't stopped since.
yeah, Heidi, you really watched me grow from somebody who is just this, I call it like a closed bud, like a rosebud, it's a closed bud, and you really watched me open up to life, open up to everything around me, and just be this beautiful flower. Because one of the things that helped me was you said set a date, because when after that big cry and we broke it down, you're like, just set a date, just set a date. And then we broke it down. Well, actually, because he allowed me to break it down for myself. And that was one of the things I love about working with you, is because you allowed me to be myself. You allowed me to figure out what was going to be achievable and accomplishable for me. So we did. We set a date, and I said it was the end of 2019 that I wanted to get this job. And so I'm like, Heidi, put the fire under my ass because now I need to be accountable to get this job by the end of the year. And it was already like, I think May or June. So
No, it was much further than that. I think it was by the time you
was
set
it
the
August,
goal for
July,
it was
maybe?
like October. Because
Oh,
yeah, it was October, and we set a goal for the end of December. I think it was before end of year, and you were moving
it was
into
end of
November
year.
with not many interviews under your belt, and
Yeah.
that's where we got clear, and then you just crushed it. Yeah.
So what I did was I said, okay, my focus, I totally put in the focus, because as all of you know, that where your focus goes, your energy flows. And I really set the intention too, because for me, job for me is just like dating. You want to see if you want to go in the second interview, or if that's really going to be for you or not. So that really helped me focus on what I really wanted. And the intention for what I really wanted was a job that that would use all of my skills, that because I felt like at the time that I had like quirky skills, because it was a little bit of here and there and everywhere. And I said, I really want a job that's going to appreciate me for who I am, my skills, my work ethic, and all of the things I can provide for them. And I want to be in a professional environment where, I'm treated as such, as a person that, that I know that I deserve. So I said I'm going to put in an application a day. So by the way that Heidi broke it down, I said I'm going to put in an application a day, but I even upped it because we didn't have much time, or I didn't have much time, right? So I said 5 applications a day. And we're working where I work. They actually pay for us to go to the interviews. I took full advantage of that. I went to so many interviews in the place where I was working, which I loved already. I just needed to move up. And that being bold and being big also for all of your listeners is also meaning going in for anything that you do like a boss. And so, I would regulate myself. I would be there early. I would be prepared for all of my interviews. And I really implore you to do the same, and not in the way of perfectionism, because I'm a recovering perfectionist,
Same
but
here.
in the in the way of authenticity. And that was one of the things that really helped me connect with Heidi, because I feel like she's just so authentic. And for me to really come into myself and really set the intention before I do anything. So whenever I felt nervous, I'm like, this is just it's just a to see if if it resonates. And also, what I learned through this process was I knew what my intention was. I knew what I wanted. I personally wanted that freedom of working in a job and not having somebody hover over me and being micromanaged. I knew all of these things. And I knew because of that, I needed to be responsible, like more responsibility. You're going to get more money, you're going to get more responsibility. So I learned all of these things just by going through the process. And through that process, guess what? After a million interviews, I just got better and better at them. And I was more confident each time I went in, and I was finally hired. And so as soon as I got the call, and it was on the day of the interview, as soon as it was a couple of, yeah, it was a couple of days before the end of the year, I went into the conference room and I called Heidi, and Heidi answered, and she's like, "You got the job." And we were both screaming. It was so amazing, Heidi. Getting all emotional now.
Aw, yeah, I was so excited for you. And it was different than what it looked like. That's another point for people to know, or ladies to know, when you're moving into, when you're setting a goal, sometimes we get so tunnel vision on what that looked like. And first, Bella, you were looking in the company you already worked for, in the place you already worked. And then you
Yes.
started stepping out into other options with different companies. And that's where it all came together for you.
Yeah.
So I'm really proud of you. And I always knew from when Bella and I were working together that she was meant to also do her own thing, because you have such a powerful gift and voice, and you're so authentic, and you're genuine, and you're coachable, and you're also a great role model and coach for others, that I knew eventually this would be an opportunity for you. I actually wanted it much sooner for you, but I couldn't push it on you because it's your journey and your life. And then you did it in your time. And now you're an author. You're an author of a book. You are shining your light in the world. You're putting your message out there. You are transforming and evolving, and you've evolved so much in the last few years. How are you? What's before I ask you what's next for you, because there's so much that's next for you. Um, what can you share for women that are moving through a process that they're feeling like they're nervous to shine their light? They don't know what to do to get out there more, or they have big goals and dreams, but they don't know what to do next, and they are feeling stuck or lost.
Oh my gosh, that's such a great question, Heidi, because it for me, I got to a point where I felt comfortable finally settling in after, and I hadn't even been divorced yet. But really truly setting that genuine intention of, what came from my soul. So I think what happens with women, it just because we're conditioned to believe that we need to contort ourselves, conform, or I call it compromise ourselves and our goals and dreams for others. And that's not why we're here. So through this whole deep dive, it's 8 years this year too. Through this whole deep dive of me looking into myself and pouring into myself, even though others have said that's selfish, I believe that it's selfless for us to pour into ourselves. And the reason why I say this is because, as I said, I was afraid of, I thought, fear. But honestly, we're afraid of the feelings of fear. And so anything that's going to be hard or uncomfortable, we're just going to want to get through it real quick. And so in some cases, that means just doing it, just doing the act, but it's from a disempowering place. And for people who are comparing themselves or they're not where they want to be at that time in their life. And granted, I sound young and I might look young, but I'm 54. And when this all happened, I was in my late 40s. But there was never a time that I said it's too late. And there was never a time for me to say that I couldn't do something, because I knew with proving through Heidi and all of the things that I accomplished that it's possible, that I'm possible, that our dreams are possible. And so we can make our dreams a reality. So just for your listeners to know that it's important that that we are real with ourselves, that we know ourselves. So that was one of the pieces that the point that I got to was like, I need to trust myself. So I started trusting my intuition, like 100%. I started doing that. And all of us have intuition. And when it comes to like red flags, again, we avoid it. We avoid the red flags. And then later we're like, damn it, I knew it. I knew it. I felt that, right? Like I just didn't go with it. So turn your red flags into green flags. And then also really do a deep dive into yourself, because the reason why we are not ourselves, we're coming from a disempowered place. We are falling into the conditionings because of the the unconscious mind. Unconscious mind runs 95% of the show, and we're only conscious 5% of the time. So if we can overcome this and learn about our unconscious, with most of our trauma and everything is stored in our body, like on a cellular level, it's stored in our body. So what we need to do is we need to be aligned, body, mind, spirit. And again, with that, seeing yourself, hearing yourself, and being yourself. And when you see yourself from a non-judgmental place. For me, it's like being at the mall. It's, it's like you are here. It's like good to know. Like now I know where I'm at and now I know where I want to go. But you only know where you want to go from an authentic place, which I call the inner bliss GPS,
Mm.
because that's where everything runs, is from that authentic place. And for us to be able to come into ourself and come from that authenticity, that is where we're going to feel secure. That's where we're going to feel, not like an imposter. That's where we're going to feel that our message means so much to us that it doesn't matter how much we screw up or how much, the how much we need to practice or how much we don't know, because it means so much to us. And that was one of the things too that you taught us, Heidi, was the why that makes you cry.
Mm.
And so Heidi helped me find my why. And it's taken this long to finally figure out that I give permission for women to play big in their lives, because we're always looking outside of ourselves for permission and validation. That's part of our old conditioning. So that's the part that you all and me, what I did was just trust myself, but I didn't even know who I was. So start knowing yourself, start going through the hard things, start becoming better friends with fear, Start facing everything and rise. Start doing the uncomfortable and being comfortable with doing uncomfortable because it's the only place you're going to grow. And then another thing too, Heidi, you might have a lot of people who are in their own business or starting their own business. Be really mindful of starting your business from your heart and not
Mm,
your head, because that's where I felt like I mean, as conditioning, we do that. It's like, oh, what's going to be most attractive? Well, you are your own billboard. So it needs to come from an authentic place. Otherwise, you're going to be switching and switching and switching and switching and feeling like an imposter. But if your message is so strong and you know the why that makes you cry, it is all about the message. And so that message for me is give yourself permission to play big. All of the things that you think that you can't, you can. I mean, you have some powerful followers, and I've been friends for all this time with the original people that I started with Heidi, because she attracts those people, but she also builds them too. And that's what's so exciting for me, is that it's just the foundations. It's simple. It's very simple. And breaking it down to simple steps makes it achievable.
that was amazing, Bella. And you said so much, and I want to touch on a lot of them. Because we literally, like I shared with you before we came on here, I was like, we could literally talk about for straight for 3 days.
Yeah.
Bella and I could go for 3 days. And then come up for air and go another 3 days.
Yeah.
That's how we roll.
Seriously.
But but you had said your inner bliss GPS. I love that, and tapping into your intuition. And I that's super important because it's something that I've struggled with too. That was a big challenge for me, and I don't like the word struggle. I'm For those of you who are new to my world, and Bella knows this, I'm very big in aware of words and verbiage. And
Yes.
that's one thing I
It's
also tell my clients
powerful.
is really watch what you're telling yourself. And you mentioned that inner critic. The word struggle I don't like, because challenge is better, or there's just other words we can put to it that aren't like so defeating. And I just said it. So see there, we're always learning and growing, and working towards being better and doing better. But I love that you had said tap into your intuition, because a lot of, like you shared, when you're starting a business, or even if you're about to pivot, make sure that when you do this, it's coming from what you're passionate about. And I had this question in one of our coaching calls, Bella, last week. It was, should I do what I know, what I know, or not necessarily what I know, but there was two choices. Same kind of, same similar space, but should I lean into my what I'm passionate about, or should I do what I think is needs to be, I should be doing? And I'm like, immediately it was a no-brainer. It was, what are you passionate about, and how do we make money doing your passion with your passion? Because at the end of the day, if it's a hobby, if you're not making money, you definitely need to be able to take care of yourself and your family. But at the same time, you're more involved, and you're going to make a greater impact, like Bella said, when it's coming from your heart, when you're truly showing up from your heart, because you're going to show up more authentically. And
Yeah.
whenever you're struggling with what to do next, share your story, share your journey, share something that's
Mm-hmm.
meaningful to you. And those people are that are going to come into your space. Vulnerability is a big piece of business, and Bella is the master of being vulnerable and showing up. And she's gone through her processes of moving through her journey and her trauma in order to do that. But she does it so masterfully, so beautifully,
Oh,
so
thank you.
fluently, and so heartfelt, and with true authenticity. And that's why she's showing up big. She's able to show up big and make such a huge impact in the world and on so many other people. So Bella, how do we get to learn more about you and what you do? And can you share how you help people?
Yeah, well, that's interesting that we're doing this podcast at this time, because Heidi, remember that 8-8 was a huge it's a huge intention portal for us to set our intentions, and it all does come from the heart. So for me, 8-8 2014, I was attacked. So I was physically attacked. And I said, this is the last time this is ever going to happen again. It happened in 2015, the year later, an 8-8. I couldn't figure it out. So that was the day that I said that I was going to leave. And for people to know that it's so important for us to set that intention. But through that attack, instead of feeling fear, I felt love. And it was, I really feel like God protected me with love. And so that's my main message for everybody is that what you had said, like heartfelt. I'm all heart because of that love. And the soul only knows love. So that's where everything springs from. That's where everything that is my goal is to share this message. And that's why we need to play big, because fear separates us and yet love unifies us. And because we feel fear or feel the feelings of fear, and even, the perfectionism's from fear, everything's from fear, everything is from our trauma that's held in our body. So I help people understand the unconscious mind and become conscious of the unconscious, but do that in that authentic way so that we become the driver instead of letting fear drive our life. So that we become the driver in our inner bliss GPS. We become the driver. We're the ones who set that course. We're the ones who make the decisions. We're the ones who go through the challenges, not avoid them, not go around the fire or run away from the fire. And that's what we do. When we run away from the challenges, we don't learn and we also don't grow. But when we go through the fire, through the uncomfortableness, through all of that that we feel separate from, we need to go through that so that we can come into ourselves and also purify ourselves. Because as you know, the fire will purify us and let go of all of the things that don't no longer serve us and really come from an empowered place and be you. Just be you. But it all comes from the heart, which I don't know if you know, but the heart is like the second brain. So come from your heart, which I call it, for me, is my first brain. so so everything's from the heart, everything's from your soul. But do it in a way of that alignment. So because all of the trauma was stuck in my body, I'm still doing a lot of trauma work. And that's what I help people with, because I've been through that, because I've been through the deep stuff, which, I have this mug. It says, which is, it says, let that shit go. Because that's the hardest
Love it.
part for people, is
Mhm.
to let go and forgive, because through unconditional love you need to go through forgiveness. And if can I share just something really quick about forgiveness,
Absolutely.
because people have so much trouble with it. I just had something I'm just going to share. It says, as we forgive and enter the temple of the heart, we can see beautiful visions of what is now possible. Feelings of euphoria may awaken. We realize that we have set ourselves free from the past, a constraint that once weighted us down and uh, was heavily upon our hearts, has been casted off by our spiritual will. Knowing that we have such a beautiful power from within can bring gratitude and wonder into our hearts. So I really have lived my life through love and learned unconditional love through forgiveness and gratitude. We have so much to be grateful for. And rather than, and I did ask myself this one day, I'm like, why do we always think about the things that we don't have or the things that we don't know? I'm like, why don't we work from our strengths? And that was one of the things that Heidi really brought out in me, I feel, is like, what are your strengths? What are your strengths? What are the things that you love? What are the things that light you up? And that's really what I help people with, is to work with their strengths and not to be afraid of the feelings of fear, because challenges lead to choices and choices lead to opportunities and opportunities lead us to freedom. But if we're holding on to a bunch of shit, there's no room for that abundance to come in. there's no room for us to feel into that abundance or the limitless possibilities that we have because we have too much shit. So half of the battle is just letting go and forgiving. So one of the things that I run my life over is no blaming, shaming, judging, guilting myself or other people because we're like our worst bullies. Okay, ladies, we're like our worst bullies, or there's men here too. And we beat ourselves up and we're in shame and, blame and all this stuff for ourselves. And we take on things that aren't even ours. So I learned, I actually saw the bumper sticker, not my circus, not my monkey. And if it's not yours, don't take it on. And
Mm,
energy wise, if it's not yours, don't take it on. You are not your emotions. You are not your circumstances. So don't take those things on and really go into the deep dive of your identity and your come from a place of authenticity, which is your inner bliss GPS.
mm.
So I learned
So
a
much
lot,
gold there.
Heidi.
I want to, yeah, so much gold. I love let that shit go. So, ladies, whenever something's coming up for you, say, let that shit go. Put that on a sticky note somewhere. It's from Bella. Let that shit go. And forgiveness. Forgiveness is super powerful, Bella, because the only person that we're holding back when we're not in forgiveness is
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yep.
Because the other person doesn't care most of the time. So
Yeah.
it's important
Yeah.
to forgive and be in a state of gratitude. Gratitude is so magical. You can create unbelievable things and manifestation when you're practicing gratitude. And it's really hard to live in a negative state. It's impossible really when you're in gratitude.
Yeah.
So those are some really great things that you shared. So thank you so much for that. And so what's next for you? I
Oh
want to
my.
know.
That's a loaded question, Heidi. I'm doing a lot of things that I really just it came to me once I got clear about what I wanted. Once I found my own inner bliss GPS, that's when everything just started coming to me. So, it was actually last year where I asked myself because it was so hot here. I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area, which is a much cooler region. And here where I'm living, it's hot. It's hot, hot, hot. So I was mumbling and grumbling, and then I just said, Bella, you just gotta quit V8 moment. So what I did was I said, what do you really want? So that's when I set the intention of setting myself up for success, coming from that authentic place. I said, I want to be a digital nomad. I want to help women through my books. I want to go on book tours. I want to be a speaker so I can make the influence and impact not from an egoic place, but from that genuine place. Because as you can tell, I'm very passionate about the message that I want to share. So becoming a paid speaker and having my own retreats. And really, I feel it's a calling for me. This would be in a combination of healing, breath work really helped me, meditation helped me, all of those things to help regulate that survival mode, which I still go through, but I'm like night and day from what I was before because I'm more in the thriver mode, which I call coping is for survivors and creating is for thrivers.
Mm,
And really helping people through the hard stuff and helping them let go and helping them get into their own inner bliss GPS through my retreats. And through that, that's where I will have the clients also create courses, that type of thing. So last year, as soon as I made this intention, it was a strong portal of the 8-8, which I celebrate each year, and I got a book deal. I had actually 3 book offers and I
amazing.
chose one So yeah, thank you. So I was published in a book last year. It's called Unleash Her. And I am going to be in another book this year that's coming in the fall. It's called The Empowered Woman's Path, and teaching women how to empower themselves from that, solid foundation, which is from our heart, our soul. And as I said, that whole alignment of body, mind, spirit. So, yeah, and I went to two speakers boot camps and have a lot of bookings already this month, and really playing big and setting myself up for success. But as I said, it comes from an authentic place, and that's what I'm helping people do.
Mm,
So,
I
yeah.
love it. Yay!
Oh, and
Congratulations. Go ahead.
the traveling, the traveling happened, y'all. Because And then I also said, if I'm going to have my retreats, I need to go on retreats. So I went on one already in Tulum, Mexico. I'm going to Brazil and also to South Africa this year.
Mhm.
And I am just so excited, so thrilled, and about just networking and meeting amazing, amazing people. So,
So good. I love that you tapped into what do I want? Like you said earlier, so many of us focus on what we don't want or what we don't have and that
yes,
lack and that scarcity. And when you were feeling the heat and you're like, okay, I don't want to be here. I don't want to live in this heat anymore. Wait a minute, Bella, let's shift this. What do I want? Then you were really you were able to create your vision of what you truly
yes,
want to what you want and what you want to bring into you. So I invite you all to you if you're when you're listening and you're feeling like you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want this. Great. Let's shift that to not focusing on what we don't want, but actually ask yourself the question, what do I want? Another thing you can put on a sticky. So you have it next to you on your computer or wherever it is, or in the morning, set your intention. What do I want? What is it that I want today? What do I want to create today? Because we are the creators of our own lives. We are the creators of our destiny.
yes,
So by asking ourselves that question each and every day, you get a clean slate every day of what you want to create in that day and in that moment. And that is going to be a stepping stone for the rest of your life. So thank you for bringing that up and talking into that as well. And I am so excited for you. The women that come on your retreats, the people that come on your retreats are going to be so blessed. And I know they're going to have huge transformations. And speaking of that, Bella is a true testament of turning your mess into your message and
yes,
really shifting the trajectory of your life, where you presently are and what you were, what your past was. That's not the blueprint for your life. You get to choose what you want to make of it and what your blueprint is and you get to map out your own journey and where you came from or where you are now doesn't mean that's the end all be all. And Bella is a true testament of that. She's created magic in her world, but she's done it through intention, through gratitude, through focus, through patience with herself and with others in her life as well. And Bella, where can we get more of you? How do we find you? How do we connect with you? So the audience who's listening can, when they if they want support, when they want support, they can slip in their DMs, connect with you, and get to know more about you.
yeah, Heidi. Just one thing I wanted to mention about the vision of you said the word and it just sparked something in me, that we play small because we see ourselves through someone else's vision. And so what we want to do is see ourselves through our own eyes,
Mm,
and feel and hear ourselves so that we can listen, so that we can be ourselves and be limitless. So, yeah, they can find me pretty much anywhere on social media under Your Soul Passion. I also sent you a link where they can connect with me. An easy way, as what Heidi said, to just go into my DMs and say that you saw me on the podcast, or heard me, saw me, heard me on the podcast. And also, if it's easy, super simple, like what Heidi does, is your soul passion at gmail.com.
beautiful. Amazing. Bella, one last question for you.
Mhm.
What's a fun fact that we can learn about you that
Well, I
get a little
asked my
behind the scenes of Bella?
yeah, I asked myself one day after all of this work that I've been doing, I asked myself, what's your greatest life lesson? And I said, you know what? It's I learned how to fall. I learned how to fall. I was a skier, a little taught skier. And it probably I was like three or four. I was a gymnast at a young age. I joke and say that I was tumbling out of my mom's womb there. And I was a martial artist before the age of 8. And I learned how to fall, not only falling, like we've all learned how to fall, get back up and start walking again, right? Because we're all walking. And I said, but I learned how to fall and get back up. And that's part of the process. So I also learned that falling is not failing. And through that process, I learned how to ride a bike. I taught myself how to ride a bike on my own in one day because of that. Falling is not failing. We need to learn how to fall. Need to learn how to get back up, but more in an empowered way, right? More in the way of what is challenging for yourself, not comparing yourself with anybody else, but what's challenging for yourself. That's the way we grow. That's the way we flow. And like a bicycle, we need to keep the balance. We're meant to be in that momentum and keep shining. Keep shining your light because that's, what I do is I learned the message, the why that makes me cry, and that's all I'm doing. I'm just sharing. I'm just sharing the message.
So good. Thank you so much, Bella, for being with me here today. And make sure you go check out Bella. Follow her on social. Go get in her DMs, email her, all the things. Get connected with her. She's an amazing human, and she will shine so much love on you and just douse you with her love and generous. She's super generous. And, we talked a lot about, just really stepping into your passion. And as Bella shares, being, getting clear on your soul passion. And one thing about when you lean into your passion and you're coming from a place of your heart, then you're able to shine your light brighter because like you said, what if you're when you're leaning into what lights you up, that's what's going to allow you to really shine your light brighter and make a bigger impact and really create the life, the business, whatever it is that you're looking to
Mm,
create. So lean into your passion, lean into what lights you up, and go shine your light bright, just like Bella.
yes.
Thank you, Bella, for being here with me today. I'm so grateful for you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for inviting me. It was a pleasure.
We'll see you on the next episode of the Be She podcast. Be seen, be heard, be empowered, and with Bella, be limitless. Sending you all love. Bye.
Okay.